SHIATSU with Jenny and SHIATSU for your friend. I did a SHIATSU practice 2 3 weeks ago, and I don't actually remember what I did. So maybe some of it is repeated, but it's always nice to repeat things. I'll take it like a very simple, anybody can do it kind of massage. And all you need is a person who wants to lie down and be treated nicely for a little bit, so I'm sure you find one. There. Okay. First thing, if you're gonna work with somebody, if you have the time or make the time, take a little meditation practice or a shavasana practice for you to align yourself. I just had a nice walk to the beach and back, lucky me. But anyways, even when you do that, you're gonna have to put the mattress, in my case, the mic, the computer, the camera, all these things, so you may need a little time, not just for the person, but for yourself as well. So the first thing you're gonna do is sit with them and establish contact. This is a nice place, the base of the spine, the sacrum. But I'm going to establish contact with her whole central line. Once I feel my breath sinking and I feel here and here with her, I go to the heart. And with the two hands, it's very nice because you can feel breath moving from one to the other one. And you get a sense of where the person is by feeling her breath. And also how they receive you. Generally speaking, the person is going to relax and sink, but in the first minutes, sometimes the insecurity of meeting another, the first minutes of contact, there is a certain uncertainty. So you get to know each other. There's a lot of patience in this moment. I like to go here next, lumbar spine. And I'm placing my hand in a way that she feels it. It's not just hovering above. It's not pushing in. It's full contact. Full contact. Steady full contact is very reassuring. Then this area over here, remind them also to relax the neck and the upper spine. I'm gonna get a little closer. There. And then I wanna also feel the seat of the diaphragm. Once you feel this first getting to know each other and establish a sense of contact, I'm going to start rocking her a little bit. You can do it with two hands, depending on the size of the person and how round they are in the front. Or maybe if you get a hold of her hips, one hand is enough, depending size and everybody has their inherent rocking movement in them. And then I'm going to use the other hand to support the rocking alongside the sides of her body. So I start with her left side. So the two hands go in sync. And now I'm not really pushing, I'm not really digging into the body. My intention is that her structure moves, her structure, her skeleton. Look, the foot is moving, the shoulder is moving, the whole body. I go to the other side. It's also an opportunity for her to get used to be touched throughout the body. So if anything feels weird, if there is a bruise, if there is a scar, you might feel a hesitation in her. So, or her, if she has a sensitive spot, she might have the chance to tell you, or even if in silence, to get adjust to the feeling. So I'm doing a couple of times on each side. Then I usually go to an even smaller rocking. I'm trying two things with this. One, that she comes up to a sense of subtlety when the hands go very strongly and the movements are very pronounced. The mind is going to feel that which is striking, but that which is subtle is going to be missing underneath. I like to work in SHIATSU with a person as sensitive as possible, relaxed but very sensually awake. So sometimes I go for a section of subtlety, small movement. Now I'm just going to enhance a little bit. When she inhales, my hands separate because he becomes a little longer. So I'm going to enhance that with my hands. When I feel an inhale, I'm going to push with this hand that way, with this hand, and pull this way. And when she exhales, I'm going to let them fall towards each other. So it's like I'm breathing with her. If you can't do it inside the rocking, if it feels a little complicated in terms of movement, then you can even stop the rocking. And inhale with her. Exhale. The nice thing of this, besides making her aware of her own breath, is that if the breath is a little short, you just make the movement a little longer, yes? Yeah. And then you invite her breath to follow you. You really are breathing together. And of course, all this does not need to be processed by her intellectually, but her body understands. So in just as these few minutes, her breath is completely different. I can feel her down on the mattress, completely synced. This is a good time to start with the actual treatment. I'm going to take her left side from a little bit under the shoulder blade all the way to the leg, and I'm going to trace them with hand pressure strokes. I'm going to keep one hand as the mother hand we call it, resting and the other hand moving. The mother hand, maybe I change it afterwards. Position, whichever one makes you feel comfortable. It can be on your knees, it can be with a foot on the floor. I'm gonna work on my knees today. Jen is quite small and close to the floor, so I want to be as close to the floor as possible. Working on the knees can work. And what I do is I'm using my body weight. So I push into the mother hand to move away, and then I resist my fall with the other hand, and my hara is directed towards the body. It's a little strange when you start practicing massage, all the teacher says, or oriental techniques. They always tell you, you gotta give the treatment with your hara. It's a sense that centers are connected. If you don't feel it, you can enhance these by even changing your position. You open your legs and really hara towards hara. I'm so used to this, that position doesn't affect me that much unless I somehow end up in one that is unstable, and then I gently change until I feel stable. Before I go to the legs, I'm going to do once more of the back. If you have experience, of course you're going to feel a bunch of things, yeah? But if you don't, if you haven't touched many bodies, don't look for anything. Just the feeling of resistance of the body under your weight, and your breath and the breath. Whatever things that you pay attention to when you are practicing in yoga, the way you move. And then when you place weight on the body, find that mid ground. Like we said before, you don't want to be just hovering above, like they don't feel you. You want to have physical contact. I think that feels better. But the way you penetrate with your weight in the body wants to be even, respectful. At all times, she wants to feel that you're reading her, that you are with her. I'm going to do the transition to the legs. Right hand I put it here. And I let her get used to the pressure on the thighs. And then I continue down the leg. I'm going to adjust my position. When you do this, you can have contact if you're very skillful in the way you move, or if it's a simple movement. Otherwise, separate contact for a little bit. Don't shake them. Yeah, I'm going to change this way, and I'm going to let her have her foot rest on my thigh. Put my forearm on top. That's going to be my mother hand now, and then continue with the thigh. You move through flesh, but depending where you are in the body, you're going to feel the density of the bone underneath. That increases the intensity of the sensation a little for her. So there you go, very slowly. I feel flesh, I feel flesh, I feel flesh, I feel flesh. It's getting squeezed, and there I feel the bone. So don't think too much in terms of energy, and think in terms of textures. If you practice, you will feel all sorts of things, but in the beginning, relationship, breath, movement, texture of contact. Now I want to pull her whole leg. You can take the ankle and just pull back, but if you keep your forearm here and the other hand here, and then you just lean away, I'm pulling her whole left leg, which is pulling from the hip. And once again, if you really look, when you start pulling, you can see at the end her shoulder move. Since I have her here, this feels really nice. You can roll your forearm through the sole of her foot. Your thigh is steady underneath, and flesh against flesh, not bone, not elbow. Through the toes as well. Couple of rolls. Here, sometimes you encounter partners who are hesitant to give you their weight. So sometimes you gotta be a little patient and you have to let them figure out how to do it. They'll try. I had a nice, very nice massage partner these last couple of weeks. And she was almost relaxed, but somehow her leg would hold at a certain point, and we talked about it. She was trying to figure it out. Towards the last day, she could relax finally, and it feels like important in a way for them. That's that moment where they give in to you. So give them space, even if they don't know how to do it. They learn, and then foot a little extra. Put another hand through the calf. And the calf for some people can be really tender, especially if it's centered a little bit underneath as well. So you will feel again flesh, and if you keep pushing in, you feel the bones. Or don't don't hide, don't spare them the awareness of this area, even if it's tender, but don't aggravate. And I'm shifting weight from hand to hand. And the more I can, I try to take it from movement from my body. Work the arm a little. I'm just going to pull and feel where the shoulder doesn't move anymore. Then maybe as a point of reference from the elbow, I pull a little. See, her head is moving now. I'm pulling from the whole reach of the shoulder, but very, very soft. Just for her to feel a little bit how the bone moves inside the joint. And then I'm going to keep this pull for a little bit. When you keep steady pull, ask somebody to do it to you, then you understand how you feel. I was trying to explain what you feel. Now I'm going to reverse the movement. I'm pushing the bones of the arm into the shoulder. And again, I'm going to hold just, not strongly, just so it cannot move, very soft. If you do this alone, you pull the arm away and then you pull it in, yeah? You're doing it using your own muscular effort. If somebody else does it to you, the same muscles can be relaxed while the joint is moving. Then you take the extreme position this way, and you take the extreme position this way, and you let the shoulder get used to its range of movement without the effort. And why that feels good? I don't know. It does. I'm gonna open the shoulder a little. This, a little careful. I'm gonna put my hand under the shoulder and feel it. Try not to poke with your fingers. And then if I just pull the shoulder up, I'm going to be able to get in the shoulder blade. For some people, you have to lift the shoulder so much that you need to put maybe your knee under the shoulder. It's a bit more intense. With hair, you can almost feel it. I don't know if you can see it. If this is my hand, I pull up and her shoulder blade slides enough so I can put my fingers under. Jenny's flesh is very elastic and accepting. Another person might be a little tight, so you're gonna go against that tightness, tracing the border of the shoulder blade, just pushing in a little. If the person's body allow you to put your fingers a little under, this requires a bit of experience to feel how much, yeah? So be super, super conservative. And then I'm gonna trace the arm with my palm. You might not see it from there. Just putting pressure. You can do the upper arm, is a little more sensitive. So if you feel uncertain, maybe the forearm is enough. If you feel like you have a good grip, for which I would like to be on the inside, a good angle, then you can also do, maybe you need to bend the elbow a bit, and maybe you can also do the upper arm, but be gentle there. That is really sensitive. And then the hand. Simple, following the back, working a little on the hip, following the leg, rotating the knee, not forgetting the foot, working on the shoulder a little, working on the arm a little. Everything calmly, you take your time, you make them feel contact, you make them feel touch. Then we're going to do the other side, but on the other side I would give you my back so you're not going to see anything. So I'm going to give my partner the choice. So we skip the other side and I just go to your shoulders, or would you like to make the effort and turn around?
Otherwise I'm going to be crooked.
So, we do the other side. Looking is nice also. Sometimes you take a second. If you are walking in your room and you lose contact, they will feel it. But if you're with them present, they will also feel that you're still there. looking at the shape of the body, see if anything feels very different from the other side. Just a few seconds. Sometimes it's nice to have a visual impression of the body. And then we do the same way. We start with the hand on the sacrum. So, curve of the spine, soft, 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 and then you feel the bone here, flat. Yeah? So we put the hand here. And then with this as the mother hand, we start tracing the right side of her body. I'm going to change my stand. Maybe for some of you, this one is easier. Not on top of the spine, but on the side. You feel this bulking flesh on the side. And I usually turn the fingers to the outside, so I can work with the heel of the hand. And I shift my weight to the back hand, I shift my weight to the front hand. The more I can using my body's weight, and the more I can using a hara connection. And also, at any point, wherever I am, now I'm putting quite a lot of weight, I can catch myself. So you are always regulating how much weight in case, I don't know, you maybe went a little too far, or you feel the person hesitate to take your pressure. And we go on top of the flesh that is on top of the hip bones. It doesn't, I don't think it feels uncomfortable. Nobody ever said so. This area here, that area is where it feels uncomfortable if there is no intimacy. So, but this area is very much a flesh, hip, thick muscle, so it feels really nice. I'm going to change the mother hand now to the thigh to start preparing for the transition to the leg. I have a bit more journey to do from one hand to the other one, but I keep shifting the placement of my hips. Then when you get here, if we move towards the leg, we shift the stand to have her leg resting on ours. And we continue through the thigh. We skip this section that feels very much like a private area, and we move towards the leg. I put the dishwasher this morning, but then the electricity went out, and then it came back, and now we have the dishwasher in the background, in case you wonder. It's not a tropical rainforest.
Doesn't even sound remotely like a tropical rainforest.
No, like a waterfall with salmons gurgling. Okay. Actually, salmons are not in the tropical rainforest, not at all. I was looking for a fish name, and that's the one that came. How does Sadhguru say? Monsoon frogs. Look, before, remember the position we used to pull from the leg? If that didn't work for you, this is easy. So one hand goes under the foot, the other hand goes under the ankle, and then if you're kind of under the foot yourself, then you just lean back and a couple of times. And then we go for the lower part of the leg and the foot. Sometimes you can feel this in a person, that their leg ends up on this position with the inner edge of the foot resting on the floor. Some people are like this in the hips, but most people they feel more comfortable if you help them adjust with the knee towards the inside, so they rest on the front of the foot or even a little left. Okay? Then the hand goes to the foot, the other hand traces the calf, as we said before, maybe a little sensitive, so gentle. Moving this way and working gently and slowly, I feel it at least, you will calm down, you will settle, you will ground yourself also on a treatment. It is for them, but it is also for you. If it doesn't happen, if you don't feel that you get concentrated and thinking, if you feel nervous, then align your breath with your movements, even if that makes you move slowly. Especially that will make you move slowly. It's actually better. So you maybe inhale, exhale, or if you want to exhale always on the pressure strokes, you inhale, leaving both hands, and then exhale, leaning on one. I think overall through the whole treatment is a little too much. The breath also tends to align itself without you forcing it. But for sections where you maybe lost your concentration, it can be useful. The arm. Hey, you got a bruise?
Mm.
Kung Fu.
Mm.
Okay, so we pull the shoulder. Also, when you pull, I'm not like gripping tight with my fingers, really soft fingers. There's a little gripping skin to skin. So even if they have long sleeves, maybe you can feel it in the hand. And really gently pull. And then pull for a few seconds. Breathe with them. And then pushing. Both in yoga setup and in therapy setup, the person holding the space struggles to do nothing. It's very complicated, even here online. But that holding of space where you do nothing is very important. You're actually generating space for them. Shoulder blade, I can already see the outline, so here is going to be really easy to stick my fingers under. But still, I'm going to help myself. hand goes under the shoulder without poking with the finger. We lift up. We feel that the weight of the shoulder is our hands, you see. Sometimes they will lift with you. And then it's enough if you just trace with a little pressure from the tip of your fingers, maybe 3 fingers, on the outline of the bone, just where it starts to meet the flesh. If you know a little, you have touched a few bodies and you feel like you can slide your fingers a little bit under the shoulder, be conservative. Then to do the arm is easier if you are on the inside of it. So move it. Depending on the bone structure and the way their elbow is built, sometimes we need to bend the elbow a little. See if you feel it in this one. If I want to work on this line now with the position, Jenny has a bit of hyperextended elbows, so you get on the outer edge, which is more difficult to trace. If you just bend the elbow a little, this gets exposed. Some people are like that. Some people is fine with stretched arms. So I start from the flesh above the armpit, this area here, not underneath, but this area here. And then the inside of the upper arm a little soft. Not hesitant, but careful because it feels good. And then the forehead. Shake. And we go for her shoulders and upper back. Let's see. Point this way. Soft with the hair. And then find a position. If you're going to work in this area, maybe it's a cross-leg position, maybe it's on your knees with some distance to the head. It depends again. Some people are here if they're bigger, so you can work almost here. Some people are very thin and they're far away on the floor, so just find a way that fits good for you. Then you follow the spine, so we have the spine in the middle. I'm looking at the screen to see what can you see. So picture this, the spine is in the middle, I'm not going to move it. And you don't want to put pressure just on top of the spine. But on the side, you will have the shoulder blade here, the spine here. There's like a triangle there where you can put your hand, and it goes all the way to the base of the neck. It goes like this, yes? So one hand is going to go there. Very simply explained, I'm going to do this. The other hand is going to push from the shoulder down, and then it changes weight from hand to hand. So I'm going to repeat this movement, moving into one hand, releasing weight from it by pressing on the other one. And then the hands remain more or less in the same place, but then you change a little. So you cover slightly different angles of this area. You get a bit closer to the spine, never putting weight on it. Moving very slowly. And then you see the person's body is telling you a story. It's like you start to push in and then you increase the pressure and the way the body receives the pressure. absorbs compression, then a little less, then there's a conversation between your hands and her body. I like it. I like to talk with people as well, but this is like you are talking with them without talking with them. It's neither you nor her, it's what is underneath. I like it. It feels intimate in an intimate way. It's really nice. It's like we try so hard to get to know each other by explaining, yeah, how we feel about things and our ideas about stuff. And then sometimes you just touch, giving each other time to get used to the touch. And so much of each other comes up, comes in. I change. Look, you can go here and go very intense and very aggressive with thumbs and really dig into the body. And there are techniques for that, rolfing or deep tissue massage. And some people will actually expect or want that. Sometimes, if our tension has gone very deep in, if the hiding of our habits has leaked very deep in, we feel that the only way to reach it is by recreating the feeling that created the pattern. So we look for that edge of pain just so I can feel something. Better pain than numbness, yeah? And that is a required technique sometimes in some cases. But in general, if you establish a connection with the person and you give them time and you move gently and you keep the sensation clearly noticeable, but not too painful, I find that then the person almost has the choice to accept or to hold on to it. Some people need to hold on to tension for a little longer. Has created a structure for them to protect themselves. And they need a little security for a little longer. So it's your place to invite, but not impose. It's really up to them. So I have worked with one shoulder, with the other shoulder. Now I'm gonna put my both hands alongside the spine and try to work the center line, so a bit more symmetric. You don't have the view that I have, but in between my hands there's a little gap where her spine is, so I'm never putting pressure on the spine. And even though I allow a little laterality, I'm not, sometimes I push straight forward, but I like to have this little left and right, like I'm in the center, but it's a little swinging, like a pendulum that creates a center line just by swinging symmetric around that center. And you change a little bit the position of the hands to get as high as possible on the spine, really close to the neck. And I'm not even pushing forward or not alone. I'm also separate my hands from each other, creating, sorry, a an aperture. We could add easily, even without being too invasive or too strong, a layer of thumb work. But I think if it's like a feel-good home shiatsu with a friend, the palm of the hand, you have different places to give. You can use the heel, you can use the outer edge, so you can get quite a lot of singular pressure in a point just using the palm, but it remains a little softer than going with the thumb to a place, which can feel really nice. I just feel for us amateurs, at least for this video, we keep it with palms. Then at the end, one thing that really feels nice, if they have a t-shirt or if you have a little oil, a movement of the superficial energy around the skin and the upper layers of flesh. Think the effect of, I don't know, rubbing your hands when you're very cold, just this feeling that the blood is going to rush there. So I do one side. You can go a little faster, but you want contact, not poking so the hand doesn't slide, but not just slide, just like really the side, the hips. And then if the material of the t-shirt allows for it, or the sweater, you can go with the two fingers, spine in the middle, just following that line. This can be ticklish for some people, so we don't push too much, just a little bit. Hand rests on the sacrum for a little bit, push away, rest on the heart. We shift them around. You want? You're gonna fall off the mattress.
What should I be? Yep.
It's a good sign if it takes them a little bit of time to.
And if there's a drool on the mattress, like in this case.
It's a drool.
Yeah.
Careful with the hair. So, we work the shoulders, we have the actual shoulder itself, the space in front of, right underneath the collarbones, and then a little more difficult to reach is the reach of the shoulder from the bone to the neck, and then we have the neck. So, even though it's a small surface, we have a few areas to work with. I'm going to start with the shoulders. See the line of the arm? I put my arm more or less in the same direction, so when I push in, her hand moves away from the face. Now this line, I'm not letting her breathe. I have my arm in front of her face. So that's the idea, yes? Now I'm going to modify my placement so I am not on top of her. And then I move from right hand to left hand. Look at her hands, yeah, moving that, and then all the way. And if her neck is relaxed, look at her head. She's saying no to everything. Say no to life. We make her say yes afterwards. And then this idea of alternating that I like, and then we maintain pressure of both shoulders at the same time. That will separate them away from each other and separate them from the ears. Remember, when you maintain pressure, sure, they're just waiting. They aren't. And you aren't either, because you're also doing your practice, you're breathing, you're feeling. And release. Need to get a little closer. This area under the collarbones, all the way up here. Feels really nice to be touched there. Feels really nice to feel pressure there. It feels also very intimate. So, look at my hand. I find the heel of my thumb and I go there with my fingers pointing totally away from her chest. So she can feel the pressure, but go with plenty of distance so she doesn't feel uncomfortable. If not, if that's difficult, if you can't have that wrist game, you can use the thumb. Just go with thumbs in both sides. I like the softness of the palm. So if I can do wrist acrobatics, I try. And then I'm trying to go towards the center. Always pushing with the heel of the thumb. This part. Yeah, that's fine. And careful not to neither point with the fingers down, nor put pressure on her neck. Really gentle. And I like the feeling of letting her feel her collarbones moving from side to side. I do one pass with thumbs. So I find the flesh, I find the collarbone, I find the flesh, and I push very gently. Here you don't need to put a lot of weight. You will feel soft resistance and then underneath really strong resistance. So this can go very fast from feeling so nice to feeling a little aggressive. So very gentle, very gentle. Also with the same intention. It is a treatment that is although physical and firm, it wants to move us both towards subtlety. So subtlety in the touch at all times. Try to get the last hair. The ridge of the shoulder. This is a painful area for most of us. This is a sensitive area. I'll show you on me from the bone here. You see the tip of the bone, and then the ridge of the shoulder that goes all the way to behind it, to the beginning of the neck. Yeah. Once again, if your wrist allow, use the base of the hands. Really, I like it. You gotta adapt a little bit your body posture, get the angle right, and get closer to the neck. So although her hands are moving now, the pressure is not on the shoulder, I'm really getting into the reach. If, again, like we did before, this feels difficult, change to the thumbs. Now, change to the thumbs means clearly an increase of pressure for the person. I might find a partner that we both can go very deep, working with intense sensation. Usually very seasoned meditators can move energy very deep inside. So with Jenny I could alternate subtlety with going really deep and generate a lot of sensation close to pain, but normally. tightness of the flesh and how attentive her breath has become. I know she is feeling a lot. If not close to pain, maybe even pain. So I adapt. I go very slowly. I make my partner feel that I'm with her at all times, that I'm reading the fact that she is in pain. I think that's what makes a good treatment. Techniques, knowledge, even curing her from some pain that she has. It's all good. Giving her a deep moment of human support with care. I find that a higher priority somehow. Then I'm gonna get her hair. So I pass my 2 hands under the neck. I still can move a little. And then carefully, if they have earrings, I'm gonna try to find her skull and pull a bit away. See if I can get off the ears. And here is another strong holding place for many people. They will lift the neck, or you move to the right and you feel like either they're resisting or moving with you. Give them some time and make them feel the weight of the head in your hands. And maybe just move your weight from side to side. Just let them develop the trust on your hands. It's a very sensitive area. Then I pull towards me and I release the pull. I told you I was going to make her say yes. You're gonna cook today? Yes. And then I turn the head to one side. Hold it with the hand underneath. If you go now with your hand to your head, you go to the middle where the neck meets the head, and then you move a little to the side and you can feel that ball of the cranium on the space behind the ear. We rest the hand there with the fingers touching the neck, and then we pull a little away and release. Pull a little away and release. I was gonna say some work on her neck. Look, we're gonna do a little something after, but you are doing, by working with the weight of the head and having relaxed the shoulders, you're creating a negative space for her to relax her neck. So even if you don't go there poking or touching, think when you practice yoga, nobody's touching you and you relax as well, yeah? So you are not only with your touch, but also with the absence of it, creating that sense of release. Let's do a stretch of the neck. Head rests on the floor. And with this hand, we're just going to push the head very gently towards her left shoulder. And look, if I pull the shoulder down, look at the shoulder. I don't know if you see in the camera, I pull the head, and at a certain point I see this moving towards my finger. So now I know that she has reached the full limit of the elasticity of the flesh from this side under the ear to the shoulder ridge. Let her rest there a bit. If you want to intensify the sensation, you can also pull simultaneously with the shoulder down. Very gentle, very gentle. If the person has issues with the cervicals, avoid this. Head goes to center, lift it, change hands, and to the other side. Remove the hair. Okay. Pulling from the head, letting her relax. Probably not very cinematographic because there's so much that's such a subtle, small work. So it probably doesn't show much. It's a pity because just feeding her cranium, pulling a little bit, then releasing in the crease, doing it with calm breath. Sometimes less is more. In body work, very often less is more. I'm going to place the head on the mattress and then with the hand push towards the shoulder. Find the place where I have reached the limit of her body a little bit before. And if I want to intensify the sensation, the other hand goes cross, now yes, in the direction of the hand, and I create a longer line. You can feel it in yourself, the difference from doing this, or if somebody was doing this and at the same time this. Yeah. Bring her to center. And here is what I told you, we were going to do something on the neck. So I let her head go to the mattress, and now I have my fingers. So if you go to the center, you feel the bones of the neck, and on the sides you feel the flesh. So here you can just very gentle push with your fingers, different places, feel the texture of the flesh there. Go towards the base of it as well. It's very clear in this position is one of the clearest ones for most people. When you work with the shoulders or in the center, you have the head falling a little bit tilting to one side. That is telling you that that side is a little shorter somehow, if that right-handed is very common. So that might mean that on that side you stay a little longer, or you put a slightly higher amount of pressure. Short nails. To finish this section, we did it already, but let's finish there. Head on your hands. When you relax a part of your body and you give the whole weight to the resting surface, to the mattress, to the pillow, to the chair, when you do that, but the resting surface, it's life. You have a big dog. Have you ever put the head on the big dog, on the big dog's belly? Yeah. Or when a baby rests on your belly, or the cat. There's a warmth, there is a communication between two living entities. There's a communication between breaths and the feeling of resting when a human being rests on another. Jenny did a very nice hip leg section on me yesterday. Am I inside? Barely. Jenny, go to that corner with the head. There. So, now I'm inside. Barely. So Jenny did a nice section yesterday working on me with the hips. See yesterday's video. I can do the same, I can do different things, but let's see what I do. So now I'm just leaning away, pulling from her legs. Rotating the legs in the socket a little. And for the rest of the adjustments, let's go to yesterday's video. For massage itself, for like a more SHIATSU based experience, I'm just gonna do 2 lines on the leg, and I'm gonna tell you which is the best position maybe for you to work. So one line is gonna be the inside of the leg, and the other one thigh outside. So. My favorite, I think, now I'm thinking how I do things. My favorite position to have the inside of the leg exposed to me without invading her personal space is to go on my knees and rest her knee on one of my legs, her foot on the other. Then to reach, I usually keep my mother hand on the knee, and the other one, I try to lean a little so I still take most of the pressure from my body weight and movement, and I move up the leg. When you jump to the inner thigh, fingers out, so she feels not invaded in any way. And again, here I have to bend my elbow so I don't get that nice alignment of the arm to go with pressure just by leaning my weight. So there's a little breaking of the line, but I still go forward, so I lean into it. So I'm still using my body movement. I'm kind of drawing a circle here. Don't get too confused with direction of line. Sometimes it's something that newcomers to bodywork might ask. So do you work moving up? Do you work moving down? The reason why I wouldn't spend too much time making it a big deal is because, different systems have different directions. Some systems always move towards center, some away, some they reverse the lines from Ayurveda to Shiatsu. Thai massage is different. Then even in these styles, there are different schools that do it differently. I would say choose a direction of your line and then stick with it for this massage. And then if you learn or study something and it convinces you, then go for those directions. But when you work like this in a home environment, don't make it a big deal. Her leg is nice and heavy. And now I'm going to work on the thigh at the top, or maybe even outside the leg a little. Create space for myself, and I place the leg relaxed on the nice angle that she had, but I'm going to, with one hand on the foot, turn her knee in a little, or her hip, so the thigh is exposed. If you want to do this and be with both hands free, this is my trick. I move my knee to the place that I have placed the leg, and then I have both hands free. This one is very sensitive to most people. The line of the upper thigh, we don't like to stretch our quads. So the pressure goes, once again, firm but gentle. Mother hand can be on the knee, no pressure at all, or on the ankle. Another monsoon frog. Takes forever to this one. It's cleaning out this so nicely. We have a little disagreement at home about the efficiency and efficacy and purpose of the dishwasher in the household. My Shiatsu partner here, she loves it. It's her new favorite thing in her new house. I can't convince you. And it annoys the shit out of me, this washer. The other leg. I'm just one of these grandpas. Grew up in a different world. I used to do the dishes by hand. Little relaxing of the leg. Then we find the line that we want to work with is going to be the thigh line. So we were doing the other one first. I got confused in monsoon blocks. Okay. Center. We haven't finished yet, apparently. Leg goes up. I find support. Jen is super flexible in the hips, so maybe I could even let her leg fall to the ground, but for most people they end up having the hip a little too stretched and then they cannot relax. Mother hand on the knee if you want, the other one moves up the leg. And the pressure, once again, you want them to feel, but gentle. The inner thigh with the fingers pointed out. And we stop maybe 3/4 of the thigh. We get the leg back to center. And now we'll reveal the frontal line of the thigh, either holding with the hand or holding with the leg. If you hold with the hand, then this hand needs to maintain pressure the whole time. If you hold with the leg, you have one hand with pressure and the other one can mark just a simple point of reference. Once you let them rest, make sure they're warm. If you did a medium to decent work, they should be now relaxed. Sometimes you feel, or they might feel like it's over, and you somehow it has brought up energy and they feel like moving on with their day. But sometimes that takes another 10 minutes where they want to be by themselves. And if you are a friend, you can just go to the next room, prepare a tea, and let them just basically be by themselves. They come back alone. They don't have to have your face looking at them. So they have to say, "Oh, it's very nice." Yeah, we let them that moment of privacy without having to give you feedback. So even at the end, you are caring for them. They don't have to care for you. To just seal the practice. So her hip bones are here, somewhere in the middle. Here is her navel. I put my hand a little above. It depends. If the person was naked, you would feel almost where the hand fits comfortable. Everybody has pants band or belts or cordons somehow, so buttons. So in a place that central but without poking in anything uncomfortable. I'm not at all ritualistic. I don't do anything special. Had a beautiful Ayurvedic massage teacher in India many years ago. When he finished the treatment, he would leave the room and put a rose on top of your belly. It was beautiful. He liked to do it that way. Some people do a little prayer. I don't know. My prayers always go inside. Feel, be with her. Feel the breath. Breathe with her. One relaxed person more in the world. God knows we need them. Hope they enjoyed. Hope you found it useful. We see you next week.